Hello guys, hello everybody. Welcome to today's live stream, and we're gonna be covering composite sun through houses. Okay, so first let me check the chat or if everything is going all right, and we can start. Okay. Okay. So it seems that everything is going all right so far. So I will type something into the chat, and hold on, please. So, okay, okay, I'm back. So, today's topic is gonna be, I believe, really fantastic. It was actually viewer's choice from previous live stream, and I wanna talk about a little bit about sun, composite sun through houses. Probably I will not be able to cover all 12 houses, but hopefully we will cover half of it. First of all, I would like to speak about what actually composite sun means. Because we really have to understand that, composite sun is a little bit different energy from your birth sun, or when you do synastry houses overlay, because first of all, composite chart, and you probably already know this, is really birth chart of the relationship. So that's why we have to read composite chart very differently, because composite chart is actually artificial chart where we take two birth charts together, and we actually calculate midpoints of all planets. Okay, and sometimes or oftentimes really happens to be very interesting chart, and can actually predict pretty much everything about the couple and how this relationship will unfold over time. And often a composite chart tells us about destiny and even the end of the relationship. Okay, so when we take first planet, or really sun is not planet, but we astrologers call sun to be a planet. So when we take sun in composite, I have to tell you that sun really represents our goals of the relationship. So really, sun is that our core energy or life force. It is where we meet with our partner, and it is where we focus our energy when it comes to our relationship, to which area we really want to, really put things, or really to go ahead with things. And with sun, obviously there's a lot of ego things going on, and that's why sun actually doesn't do well in some houses, and you will probably be surprised by this. But overall, of course, you can have best placement of composite sun, but if your sun is somehow damaged by aspects from other planets, you will suffer anyway. Okay, so that's why we always have to really consider everything, because astrology is very complex thing, and so is composite. Okay, but now I would like to start with composite sun in the first house. Okay, so if you have this one, if you read something about composite sun in the first house, you might come to a conclusion that this is really great place for Sun to be in. But I slightly disagree with this, and this will be probably a little bit surprising to you, but really what I think is that Composite Sun in the first house can actually be responsible for that, ego battles between the couple. And you, as a couple, equally put your efforts to really compete with each other, okay? That's why, it is really first house, and so this is really one minus here. Composite Sun in the first house, on a more positive note, means that you both really invest in each other, and you both really are more of a private couple, right? Because really first house is really that house where we like to put energy on us, okay? So even if you have birth Sun in your first house, you are very much self-centered person, and that is what happens with Composite Sun in the first house. So you really don't need a lot of people to be around, because you are very much centered on the relationship itself and on the other person. Now, first house in composite represents of area of our life where when we really give great first impression. Now, what happens with Sun in the first house being here is actually that you guys as a couple, you really project that aura of one happy couple. You really, have all things figured out, and, usually you are likable and popular couple. Sometimes what you do though is that you really love to seem that way, even if things are not going well in your relationship, or when you shut the door in front of the public. But this placement of the Sun is more about really defending public image, okay? So because this is after all very public placement, okay? So now I'm gonna continue. If you have any questions, feel free to type it in, because at the end of this live stream I will answer all questions I receive, okay? Now, Composite Sun in the second house is obviously very different energy from the first house, and here we have to understand that Sun becomes very materialistic, okay? And this is how you approach your relationship. You both approach your relationship from this manner. So what this Sun typically brings is that you want to really secure yourself and your partnership financially, okay? Now, this is not very romantic placement, but what I have observed is that this is actually good placement for marriage, or for some sort of committed, serious, maybe a little bit Saturnian relationship. But because these two people with Sun here, they really put a lot of effort in earning money together, okay? So really loaded bank account, or really sort of material security possessions, these are really big things and themes of this couple. And this is what we typically do when we really want to create something long term. So we really build it, okay? So this is what happens with Sun being in the second house, that we are building things together. So we are really putting that effort for solid basis of the relationship. So goals are similar, and values are similar in the second house. By values, I obviously mean values that are more like, assets, right? Uh, yes, you might have like more spiritual values in common. This can happen too, but it is rather uncommon because what Sun does best here is that Sun gives you what you are after, and this time you are really after some, possessions, material security, and this is what you actually get if you combine it with your partner. Of course, you really have to check aspects of the Sun, maybe especially here, because it can be completely different if you have some really difficult Pluto or Saturn aspects. Even Uranus does very badly here in a difficult aspect to Sun, because this can actually mean that you will still have similar values when it comes to money, but you will not be able to really secure yourself and you will suffer a lot, okay? Now, when it comes to Sun being in the third house of your composite chart, this is really not a romantic place to be, okay? Let's be very honest here. But after all, Sun is more about our shared or common goals. So that's why, it might be not that bad at all. I would worry more if you had like Moon in the third, because, yeah, we somehow need that emotional connection in a relationship. But with Sun here, what you do as a couple is that you have that really mental understanding of each other. So it is really simple for you to talk to each other, and what's best here is that it is really simple for you to get each other, right? So really, there's a lot of mental exchange, everyday, daily exchange. You are able to get each other, and it is like when you speak with someone, and it is rather easy, even if you didn't see this person for years. You are able to sorry, you are able to really to really be on the same page when it comes to mental exchange. You like to explore each other, but not really from emotional point of view, but from mental point of view. And what happens very often is that you admire each other knowledges, okay? So actually this is great placement for teacher and student, or if you want to learn something from someone, you better check if you have Sun in the third house, because this position is actually best for these things, and it is really not uncommon to see that people are really enriching each other in this area, okay? What else about third Sun? So really, all daily activities, what you do everyday life, or what is sort of important for you, you are able to keep up with each other effortlessly. And this is, in my opinion, added value of this placement, that you really are able to get each other. It is really quick and easy exchange, and actually this is what you need, right? With your partner, in order to be able to somehow live with them, because you are really, when you live with someone, you are really sharing your life, your everyday life, and that's why this position of the house is really great here, okay? So moving on to Sun in the fourth house. Obviously, fourth house is the most intimate and vulnerable house of all when it comes to family life, and even our innermost self. So what happens if we have Sun here? is that we both, partners, we both equally want to create something meaningful together. I'm sorry. Which commonly means that you want to create family together, okay? Because Sun in the fourth house is really placement that is commonly found in marriages, because these people are able to put effort and to really strive together as a family. There might be kids involved, because this is what Sun in the fourth house does, that you want to shine there, right? Because it becomes your common theme and common goal that you want to build, but you want to build more of a Cancerian things. That means shelter, home, family. If Sun is well aspected, it is just great, because even other people from the outside will see that your relationship is solid, that it is something meaningful, and it is something like untouchable, right? So it is really one of the best placements for Sun to be in, Sun in the fourth house. Now, complete opposite energy is actually Sun in the fifth house. If you have Sun in the fifth house, and you try to build something solid with your partner, it will be rather difficult. Of course, there might be some other placements or aspects involved in your composite that they will tell us that this is serious relationship, but with Sun in the fifth, you really just want to have fun. There's a lot of joy, but when we have Sun in the fifth house, people, both equally, they don't take it seriously, okay? So Sun in the fifth house, in my opinion, it is not enough. If you want to have, a deep connection or something long-lasting like commitment, Sun in the sixth is just not enough. Sun in the fifth house is commonly found in affairs or in hookups, because there's a lot of excitement, there, lightheartedness, obviously, but we are really having this hookup just for fun, and then we will move on. This is what Sun represents. Now, of course, it will be different when it comes to other types of your relationships, like if you want to have business with someone, and you happen to have Sun in the fifth house, that means that you both will equally invest whatever you have to invest to really build, that solid business together, okay? Because after all, fifth house, it is not only house of fun, but it is also house of entrepreneurship. On the other hand, I, for instance, have this placement with my Sun, okay? So actually with parent and child, this position of the Sun can be good, because you both equally want to have fun together, and it is okay. When it comes to parent and child, there's a lot of joy, mutual joy to see each other, but when it comes to commitments, typically this placement is not enough to create some stable commitment. Okay, so now I would like to continue with Sun in the sixth house. In my opinion, Composite Sun in the sixth house is really in my opinion, one of the most difficult placements of the Sun. First of all, whatever planet lands in the sixth house, it really means that this relationship is not equal. Okay, so really watch out for this one. And I am always, very cautious when I see this sun, because there is, of course, a reason why this is even happening in the first place. And that's why, we have to somehow explore the reason why sun is here. Now, commonly, sun is in the sixth house if we are employee and someone is employer, or vice versa, because there is already that sense of inequality, and it can actually work very well if you have really sun in the sixth and you are you are working, you work for someone, so this is actually great position. Otherwise, it is not it is not benefit for everyone, really. Sometimes we can have this position if one of you plays role of let's say caretaker of the other, like one of you have like some sort of health disabilities and your partner is taking care of you. This is what can happen here. Or because with sun to be healthy and strong in composite, we should equally invest in relationship. And in sixth house we see that there are difficulties, and oftentimes one of the parties suffers anyway. So every time I see sun being here, I still have to go back to birth charts of people, because there is a reason, right? Sometimes one person wants to save the other, but it is really not the sign of healthy relationship. So it is definitely worth exploring sun in the sixth house, but I don't know, I would love to hear your experiences, but oftentimes I would not recommend this type of relationship, because there is like some important part of the relationship is missing, and there will not be satisfaction. Okay guys, so I would like to leave this live stream here for today, and next week I will continue with the rest of the houses. Now I'm gonna check if we have any questions, and hello. Okay, in a long-term commitment relationship, how would the sun in the fifth house play out? Okay, so if you were able to really commit to each other with the sun in the fifth house, it can actually be good, because what can be better if than if you are able to have or experience joy with your partner. Common problem here is that you just don't take it seriously, but if this is not the case for you with the sun, with the composite sun in the fifth house, you are simply able to to have fun together, to really even travel together, to really experience a finer side of life. Okay, because this is really a light position of the sun, so you are really able to enjoy life and not to discuss some difficulties of life, because you somehow can successfully manage to avoid discussing difficult topics, but you don't mind. Okay, so there's a lot of travel, fun, social groups. Okay, so that's why this position is great placement for friendship, because added layer of this position is that you both will be friends together. Okay. Okay, so someone asks, hello, thank you for sharing your knowledge about this very interesting topic. You're welcome. I wonder, how do you interpret when the sun is in the very end of the house? Do you consider both houses? 6, 7, 11, 12? No, you have to tell me, what does it mean, very end? Like last degree? Uh, you know, it's really my rule, or what my teachers taught me, is that if we have planet in the last 2 degrees of particular house, then I consider this planet to be in the next house. Okay, so from your example, if we have a planet that is in the last degrees of the 6th house, of the last 2 degrees of the 6th house, I consider this planet to be in the 7th house. Okay, and this I apply for birth chart, synastry houses overlay, and of course composite, because I believe that really that last 1 or 2 degrees you will more feel that energy in the next house, and this is also my observation. Okay, and do you read Davidson chart or composite? I personally read mainly composite, but sometimes I also check Davidson chart if I'm unsure about something. But I typically read composite chart, even though it is artificial chart, but somehow it works. Okay. Okay guys, so thanks for tuning in today. Next week we will continue with the rest of the houses. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. You can even ask me, and put your comments below, and I will try to answer all of those. And I wish you very nice rest of the week, and see you next week. Bye bye.